Hi everyone, thank you for watching our video. We've got lots of other amazing online courses available on the Morales Method website. Please follow the link in the description to see our other online courses. Alrighty, so now we've got the quadriceps and we can do some great deep tissue work on the quadriceps. Same rule applies here. We're going to sink in and feel for directional resistance. I'm going to move your shorts up just a bit. Okay.
That's fine.
So here I am and going to sink in. I'm going to move, feeling for directional resistance. And in this case, on Elena's left quad, we've got some inferior directional resistance. And again, I'm going to move your arm here. Again, I can have a seat on the table using my forearm elbow. I'm going to move your shorts up just a tad, using my forearm elbow to work the tissue in the direction of resistance. As I mentioned before, I'm not going to create a long sweeping stroke because it's possible that I may need to work differently by the time I get to a more distal part. So here I am. In this type of deep tissue, I don't first think about the actual quad muscle and then work the directional resistance. I'm really working for territories, and so what I'm thinking about is where is the directional resistance, where is the tension, and then I go from there and I say, oh, okay, then what muscle could that be, or what muscle groups could that be? So just a different approach to be able to work deep tissue on Elena's leg. As I'm talking, I'm slowly moving in the inferior direction. How's that pressure? Okay?
That's great.
Good. And again, I think this is a great way to be able to work on folks who aren't normally used to receiving deep tissue work. So here I can also use my knuckles, like so. I could use my soft fist. Sometimes folks will use a soft fist technique by bringing elbow right up to their body and working this way. That's very possible. It's a very doable way of working. I like to also work this way, where I straighten my arm. I don't lock it, but I straighten my arm and I'm able to then lean, bending at my ankles, being able to lean in this direction. And that allows me to create a good amount of force with very little effort. As I move more inferiorly, I can begin to palpate, again, feeling for that tension. And in her case, it's consistent. It's still going in the inferior direction. I can use soft fists. I can use knuckles. And one thing that I like to do with quads is to stabilize the quad as I'm working. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll stabilize with one hand as I'm working with the other. And I have to make sure that I'm in a great position to do that. So here I am. You do want to be careful where you put your other hand. You want to make sure, and you want to be aware of where you are, and you're not too much into between the legs. So I like to point my fingers in more of the inferior direction as I'm working. So that is the hand that's working. This is the hand that's stabilizing Elena's left leg. And how is this? Comfortable for you that my hand is here?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
I like to tell my clients, if anything doesn't feel comfortable for whatever reason, just let me know. They don't have to explain to me why it's not comfortable. I just will take that information and adjust the way I work. So here I go, left hand knuckles now continuing to work in the inferior direction. If you're doing this in a spa setting, you've got lots of oil or lotion on someone's leg, what I would do is I would do this type of deep work right before you go get some more lotion or oil, so that you're able to get a little bit of that tackiness, a little bit of that grab of the tissue. The other thing is, when I'm working here, I want to make sure, especially as I get closer to the knee, that I don't create too much downward pressure. So in this case, as I get closer to the knee, I really like to use my knuckles. If I used my forearm right in here, I would just have to be mindful that I'm not creating too much downward pressure, especially as I get closer to the knee joint. So here I am continuing to work in the inferior direction. I'm definitely close to the lateral quad. I could use fingers as well. If I use fingers, I could support my fingers. So I could support my fingers like so, this way, or switch hands. In this case, I like to use my left hand, mainly because I have my left foot forward. If I wanted to work more the medial quads, I could use my right hand fingers and support my right hand with my left hand. And again, assuming we have to go in the inferior direction. If I went in the superior direction, soft fist is an option. Knuckles are an option, and look how I positioned myself to get behind the tool so I can lean into this direction. Even fingers are an option. And this is, like I said, if we needed to go in the superior direction. Can I use my forearm or elbow? Absolutely. And here I am, kind of quarter sitting on the table. And I first sink in, and then I move in the direction that I needed to. And in this case, if we assume that there was directional resistance in the superior direction. We can take this technique all the way up to attachment. If we were working all the way up to the anterior superior iliac spine. I could also change the angle. I could work, if this didn't feel comfortable for me, I could work like so. So that would internally rotate my humerus. And again, I would do this if I was starting to feel like I was straining too much, muscling too much up in here by my shoulder joint. Right now I'm not. I'm feeling like I'm able to sink in and just kind of almost fall in this direction. But if I needed to change things up, then I could do something like this. Another thing I just did right now is just brace my left hand around my right forearm. And that, as I did that, it just felt more comfortable for me to lean in here. Is it possible to work the adductors and IT band territory with Elena and supine? Absolutely. But I want to show you a different approach, how to work these areas in side lying position. It allows you to really access the territory much better and still give the client the sense of safety. So let's do that. Let's get to adductor and IT band territory.